Hi, welcome to Bipolar Boxing Picks. This is Nick. We're going to do a breakdown for Stephen Fulton versus Naoya Inoue going on Tuesday morning at, I believe, 8 o'clock in the morning is when this main event's scheduled to happen. It's on the ESPN Plus app. But what a fantastic fight. I mean, other than Bud and Spence, this is my second favorite fight of the year. And this is actually, I think this fight will be more entertaining than Bud versus Spence. So this would actually be my favorite fight of the year. The Spence versus Crawford fight's more intriguing just because like you really don't know what the hell's going to go on in that fight. You really don't. I'm still thinking about who the hell I'm going to pick for that fight. But that video will be coming soon. But I mean, here it's kind of a matchup of styles here. I've always said that the one thing that's going to be, or the two things that could beat Inoue is a defensively sound. I'm going to say a defensively sound black fighter for the United States. I think would give Inoue nightmares, but that's just because of his style. And I think they would be able to outpoint him, but they would have to be perfect for 36 minutes without Inoue catching him. I always thought that would be a nightmare style. Stephen Fulton has a little bit of that in him, but that's not who he is either. But the other thing that he could run into is he's just going to keep moving up in weight class, and like eventually it's going to be too much for him. I mean, he's a small dude. I don't think he was that big for the last weight class. I don't think he's big for. He's definitely not going to be big for 122. Now his power could carry over, but eventually, like all those things that you have to take into consideration when a fighter is moving up in weight, it could all catch up to him at some point. And that worries me. That worries me about Inoue. But here, I don't see Stephen Fulton as being, like I said, like that defensively sound fighter. He's more of he's a very, very good all around fighter, and he is the best fighter at 122 pounds, no doubt about it. So the best fighter at 122, he might not be pound for pound as good as Inoue, but he could still win that fight. Like I don't consider Bivol, even though he dominated Canelo, I don't see him as being a pound for pound better fighter than Canelo. But he beat him because he's bigger than him. It's that simple. Like he's got very well-rounded boxing skills. Bivol's the same way. Like he ain't a power puncher or anything like that, and he was able to keep Canelo off him because he's bigger than him. Because Canelo's got no business being up in that weight class. So that's the thing. Like this could happen with Inoue. This could be biting off more than you can chew. But I'm so happy that Inoue does stuff like this. Like he didn't stop going. Like this is a very tough fight for him. And to be honest, it's high risk, very low reward. Like Inoue's, he's this monster, and he's got this huge following in Japan. And Stephen Fulton's no joke. Like Inoue ain't just going up to 122 to grab a belt off of some bum. Like he's fighting the best guy there. Just to make another reference to Canelo, like Canelo's my favorite fighter in the last 10, 15 years, but him going up and taking that championship against Kovalov, like he went up to 175. He beat Kovalov. I think he was the number one ranked guy at light heavyweight, but we all knew he wasn't the best light heavyweight in the world. Like he went and took the easy route and got himself a belt. Like Inoue ain't doing that here, and it could end up costing him. So, I mean, I don't have much for the X's and O's in this fight. I mean, this is pretty much because I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, Inoue is he's a pressure come forward fighter, and that could easily happen, and he can go get the knockout. But like I said, all the unknowns of Fulton being at 122 pounds. I mean, maybe he doesn't take too many steps back, and he tries to fight with Inoue, kind of like Donaire did. But Stephen Fulton might be able to get away with it because he's bigger than dude. Like he's a lot bigger than Nonito Donaire. He hits a lot harder than Donaire. So this you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, what I would like to see Fulton do is box around for as long as you can, and don't get clipped. And I think he could win this fight on points. But Noah Inoue can also just keep coming forward, keep coming forward. I say it all the time on this channel. Like it's tiring as fuck to fight off your back foot the whole night, and you really don't want to be doing that. Because a guy like Inoue is not going to stop coming. He's got stamina for days. His power carries over, and he will knock you out in the later rounds if you try to do that. So we don't know what's going to happen here, but like one or two things are gonna happen. I think Noe Inoue wins by knockout, and it's probably a late knockout, ninth round, or Fulton wins a decision in Japan. I think he can win a decision in Japan, because he's gonna. If it goes to a decision, I don't think Noe Inoue's plan is working out for him, and I don't think he caught him enough times. Because if he did catch him, he would finish him. I think this isn't like the Figueroa fight with Fulton, where Figueroa hurt him a couple of times but couldn't finish him. Noe Inoue will finish this guy if he hurts him, no matter what weight class this is at. He will finish him. But if I got to pick here, I think this fight is way closer than what the odds makers make. I mean, they have Noe Inoue is like a 4.5 to 1 favorite, and I don't like that at all. So for betting purposes, I'm going with Stephen Fulton here. I'm going to take him on points. I don't see a knockout coming in this fight, and I don't see Inoue being able to steal enough rounds. But that's just because I feel like Fulton will be slick enough of a defensive fighter. He ain't no Pernell Whitaker. He's not a Gary Russell Jr., but he's defensively sound enough. You saw in the Daniel Romaine fight, he can box circles around people. And you can do that against pressure fighters, because if they can't find you, they lose decisions wide a lot. Like we just saw, and I made the wrong prediction on it, but Mauricio Lara versus Lee Wood. What happened in that fight? The better boxer. Like, Lee Wood is not a defensively sound, slick guy, but he still beat Lara because Lara couldn't catch him with that one punch. So that's the way I see this fight going, is like Lee Wood, Lara 2, I must specify, not like the first one. But that could also happen, like in the first one, where Stephen Fulton's outboxing Inoue, and then come the 7th, 8th round, you get your lights turned out because you made one mistake, and Fulton can't do that here. So I think Fulton needs to make this a very boring fight. He needs to be on his back foot as much as he can, and what happens is I think he's going to steal enough rounds early to where he's going to make this thing wide. Like, he might win the first 6 rounds. He might be up 5-1 after 6 rounds or something like that, to the point where he's only got to take 1 or 2 rounds out of the last 5 or something like that to be able to win the fight, which that's how I think it's going to go down. And I think he's going to win a decision. It's definitely going to be close. There's no way he's going to win a wide decision in Japan. But I see him winning like a 116, 112 decision over Inoue. And like I said, it should be. He's going to build up points early, but man, this second half of this fight is going to be very interesting, because I think everyone's in agreement that like the first 3 or 4 rounds of this fight will probably be Fulton's fight, but that pressure, does it eventually get to Fulton? You get tired fighting off your back foot. Is he going to want to stand his ground like Nonito Donaire did against Inoue and get knocked out? What's going to happen, we don't know. That's why this is such a great fight, because you just don't know. This is also, the bottom line is it's one of the top pound for pound guys fighting, and he's a very exciting fighter. So with all the unknowns here, with him going up in weight, everyone's kind of rooting for Inoue, and this is his time to shine. I mean, you could see the bookmakers definitely got him a big favorite, but I think it comes to an end, and I just think it's a bad fight for him. It's a bad styles matchup. I think Fulton's by far the best opponent he's ever faced, not pound for pound, but just with the weight difference, it's just different. I didn't think Bivol was the best fighter Canelo's ever faced either, but he beat him pretty easy just because of that weight difference. So that's why I'm going with Fulton here. It's not a very confident pick. But whenever I think this is close enough to a 50-50 fight, and in a 50-50 fight, I always side with the guy who I think can win a decision. You're not going to see me pick KO artists. If Tank Davis ever fights Shakur Stevenson, I'm taking Shakur all day to beat him on points. I'm not saying Tank can't knock him out, but I'm not going to sit there and bank on these guys getting knockouts when you're fighting other top-level fighters. When you're fighting in the B+ fighters, maybe A- fighters, that stuff works, but it usually doesn't work out when you fight the A+ guys. But anyway, it could be different. All these fighters, Tank could be different. it could all happen. But if you're asking me for something to put my money down, I think the safest pick is the guy that can win the decision. And for me, it's Stephen Fulton, bringing the belts back to Philly, back to the United States. And unfortunately, it puts a huge, if this happens, like, it puts a huge stop on that Inoue freight train that's been coming through over the last couple of years. And now when you take this O away, unfortunately in today's boxing, like, it takes away a lot. They can't even get this guy to fight on normal ESPN when they got nothing going on. He's fighting on the app, and he's unstoppable right now. This is his toughest fight. They can't even get him to fight on normal ESPN, let alone a pay-per-view. What's going to happen when he doesn't have that O next to his name and he's not in the top 5 pound for pound? What's he going to do? I know that this is just a tough matchup for him, and he's going up in weight. Other people, especially if you don't follow boxing, those people don't even know that he's moving up in weight. They don't know who the hell Stephen Fulton is. They just expect him to run through this guy like he ran through everybody else. I don't see it happen. I'm not saying it can't happen, but I just don't see it. But anyways, let me know what you guys think's going to win in the comments down there. And just let me know where you got Inoue, especially if he wins pound for pound. Because, I mean, he's in my top 5, but I don't have him as high as other fighters. And that's just because, like, down at those low weight classes, you don't have the amount of great fighters to fight against down there. They're just not there. There's not a big enough pool to pick from, so I can't put you. But I'll tell you, like, if you beat Stephen Fulton, like, I might move him up on my list. But let me know what you guys think, and enjoy the fight.